I'm not publishing a paper related to the force field directly. They just want a paper that is peer reviewed. They just want to know that I'm the author or co-author of a peer reviewed paper. And I already told them the small scale. I already told them how to test it at the small scale, and all we have to do is to scale it up using a greater power, and that's about it. It's very simple. I told them how to test it in 5 minutes, and I'm sure they did. And all we have to do is scale it up. It's very simple. You remember that was about the NDA. It didn't make them sign an NDA, but it turns out they're gonna keep it confidential. They told me that they'll keep it confidential, so can I trust them?
Yeah, confidentiality. Until you have something on paper that's legally binding by a lawyer, then it's not worth it more than what the paper it's written on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but he submitted publication to his department. He gave the paper with.
Yeah.
So that in itself is as proprietaryship to him already. And they took that. So they took it. They have to file it somewhere. They have to catalog it, to name it somewhere. They have to get an author. You can't. This is like like federal departments. Like we're talking about like government. They can't take something from somebody and not have a place for it because it would be illegal. But they were given.
See, the thing is too, like if the technology is very proprietary, there's a lot of the secret sauce involved. Even if you were to give them a general idea of the workings of it, but you don't reveal the secret sauce, they could spend millions of dollars and never get the effect because they don't have the secret sauce. So when I talk about stuff, I'll always leave out the secret sauce to a point where even if they were to replicate it, they wouldn't know what to look for in order to get the effects, right? So that's kind of a way how you protect yourself. And many inventors in the past have done it. Jumpantini and all these guys. They've left little details out that are very significant to the operation of, the invention that they have. So it's up to those guys there. If they want to try to steal it, well, they're going to have to do some research and try to figure out how it really works, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of where the proprietary knowledge kind of comes into play, where you can keep that with yourself until time,
Exactly. And I can't even patent it because it's so simple. But one thing that I can patent is the technology I'm going to use to create it, because it still requires great power. Well, not astronomical, but still like lightning strike kind of type of power.
Well, look who just dropped in.
Hey, Gerald.
How's it going, guys?
Not much, just hanging.
You know me, I gotta make an entrance, right?
Yeah, you've been down the rabbit hole for like a month and a half. What's going on?
Oh man, the stuff I've been doing, the things I'm making.
Oh, I got something to show you tonight.
Good.
I got something to show you tonight.
I look forward to it.
All right, I've
been watching you, Phil.
Yeah, Philip, you have anything else?
I just want to share also that I'm also applying for the cohort this weekend. I need to apply before the 19th. It's the cohort that gives away from $500K for me to do an experiment on the International Space Station. So I'm gonna do the Michelson-Morley on the International Space Station.
Hey, ask him if we can make the rubber room on the space station.
The rubber room?
Yeah, we were joking about that. The rubber room. We'll put Gerald in the rubber room on
the space
station if it gets out of line, you know.
I hope it's got thick walls. Because it ain't going to make a difference. There's in a room that can hold me. I'll just say that.
Here, yeah, I want to show you guys my project I've been working on. I'm going to do my screen share here. I think Gerald, you'll find this quite interesting too.
Everything you guys do blow my mind. I've been watching you in the background.
All right, can you see? Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
There's my 2 kilowatt inverter system. I'm building. It's a mobile power station for a friend of mine, and you can take it on the road. It's on wheels. 1 gauge power cable. There's the back of it. It's a totally self-sustained, like totally contained unit.
You went to town. That looks pretty heavy duty.
Yeah, it's got Bluetooth in it, so you can monitor all the power that's being consumed by the system. It'll have a solar panel attachment to it. So, yeah,
nice.
so 250 amp fuse block right there. Then I got my power terminals on the side to add whatever other components I need. And 1 gauge ground cables. That's the back of the machine. Look at the size of the cables on that. Yeah, it's 2 kilowatt.
That's sweet.
Yeah, so I'm doing this work in my storage locker. I'm building it into a lab right now, so I'll be building a power unit, something similar to this one, but not quite the same. But I need power for the locker so I can use my power tools and stuff like that. So I gotta.
Do you have more space in the storage place?
Yeah, it's a 25-foot locker. It's 10 feet tall, 9 feet wide. So the back of it's all our junk, and then I cleaned it up in the last couple of weeks, and now I got some working space there. So I got my tables all set up, and
you did quite a bit of work there.
Yeah,
you can see that. Yeah,
it's a shipping container.
Yeah, it's a shipping container. Yeah, 25-footer.
Cool. Like you could do so many with these things. I've seen people turn these things into all like
homes. Beautiful
think,
homes. Beautiful homes. You can make laboratories out of them, homes, you name it. You can do it with these.
That's where the no, never mind. I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah, so
I was about to say some joke, but I'm not gonna say it.
The power unit I'm using a 2,000 watt Renogy pure sine wave inverter.
Renogy's good.
Yeah, it's actually, I've seen a lot of the reviews on this unit, and it gets really, really good reviews. Where other inverters seem to crap out under a certain load, this one holds up. Actually, beat quite a few different inverter systems that are out there at the equal wattage, right? So,
have you heard of the big scare on the backdoor that China put into their solar systems? It's not on the panels that everybody's talking about. It's actually on the inverters. Not yours, however. It's on the big, large inverters. 10,000 watt or more. Apparently there's an RF switch that shuts the system down or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know if you've heard anything about that. Just looking at Renogy, it just reminded me of that. But Renogy's a pretty good
they're pretty solid. Yeah, they make it pretty solid. I've seen tons of reviews on this and other units, and the Renogy seems to really hold up. It's got a good horsepower when you're like, you could pull 1,800 watts, no problem with this.
Yeah.
So
I got 1,000 watt Renogy, and I can pull like 970 watts on it. They're set up nicely, right?
Yeah.
Could I use that stuff to get like 500 amps for my experiment?
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, 500 is really cranking. Like this one here is set up for 200 amp. If it hits 250, then I got a fail safe built actually in the BMS system of the batteries I'm using. So they'll actually shut the battery off, and the BMS will actually disable the battery for 10 minutes
Okay.
After it cools down, then the battery gets reactivated, and it's actually all contained within the battery itself. It's not a separate unit; it's actually built in the battery.
Nice.
So I'm using the Power Queen Premium 2 minis, 100 amp hour, and they're gorgeous batteries. So
it's not gonna explode or anything.
no, it's got all the fail safes in it.
What happens if it's really hot in the container?
Those are lithium ion phosphate, right?
Yes, the LiPo4s. Yep.
Yeah.
They're also 35% lighter than your nickel metal hydrate or your lead acid batteries. It's way lighter, way lighter.
I've stuck with lead acid, and I know everybody hates them, but I found a way of making them last over 18 years. So
yeah, you can desulfate them.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with those until they actually get the tech down when it comes to lithium iron phosphate and all
the newest, like from what I've heard through the grapevine right now, the new batteries that are going to replace lithium are these new sodium batteries.
I heard something about an aluminum lithium phosphate or aluminum lithium. It's a different type of battery.
Yeah.
What's that?
But apparently this new sodium battery, they've been using it in their electric vehicles in China, and they're blowing the doors off of Tesla. Like they're just killing Tesla. A lot cheaper. They're not dangerous. They don't blow up like lithium can. You don't have the thermo issues, longevity. They charge fast. So you're going to start seeing these sodium batteries come out.
Well, lithium ions are so unstable. It's insane.
Well, yeah. Like the lithium iron phosphate, the ones I'm using, these batteries are guaranteed for 10 years.
Well, I'll tell you, I got almost all my lithium ions out of my house. They're all sitting in the shed.
Yeah.
Because I was doing experimentations and I came across a problem with lithium ions.
Yeah.
They become more unstable around certain frequencies and certain ions.
Oh, yeah. Most definitely.
Gotta be careful.
But if you're doing like a power station, what I'm doing,
like what happens, Gerald? Like what does it destabilize? The free ion.
I don't know if it builds dendrites within it or whatever, but the one that I was experimenting near, and I wasn't experimenting near it because I was trying to do anything. I had just forgotten that it was sitting on the table, and I had my system set up. The fucker blew out both sides. I had to grab it and chuck it outside and let it burn.
Yeah, they had dendrites.
So,
you had a dendrite short. Yeah,
so I don't know if what I was doing activated that dendrite short or if it just happened right away. But wow.
When that happens, you get a thermal runaway, right?
Yeah.
That's a scary thought, though, if you think about it.
Right? Because if you're playing with frequencies and you got like your drill nearby or something, and that could go bad.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Guys, I have a video I want to show. This free energy thing is driving me nuts, and I found a video that was just done in the last week or so with Peter Linderman and Eric Dollard, and nice. I want you to listen to the video because he's going to set it straight what the free energy thing is, kind of demystify the BS that's been going around, because for most people they wouldn't know free energy if they hit them in the face. You know what I mean? So I want to play the video because I think it's important that people kind of get the right idea. So I'm just going to jump to this video here.
Probably make your browser fast. Make your browser safe.
Okay, so let's start. Let's start right about here.
Part of Steinmetz's books. I think it's discharges, waves, and impulses that shows the difference between electrostatic and electromagnetism. And it was my belief if there was to be any creation of energy from so-called nothing, it would have to happen in electrostatic units and not electromagnetic units.
Okay, you got that? If there were to be energy
Yes.
creation, he would bet on the electrostatic medium, not the electromagnetic medium.
You're right, but you can use the electromagnetic medium to kick off the spin.
Okay, so let's carry on here.
In fact, actually, I still tend to hold that feeling to a certain extent, but there hasn't been much research going on in that other than we've started with the Trump machine,
Right.
which was built by Chris Carson at about this time from our efforts to analyze the integratron. And I felt that that would possibly be a so-called free energy machine. But at any rate, I think I pretty much adequately demonstrated in this video that the electrostatic forces are much more, they're profound compared to the electromagnetic forces. They tend to be regenerative and extremely powerful, self-sustaining, in that a capacitor will stay charged for almost indefinitely, but an inductance coil, no matter how hard you try, the energy, magnetic energy is just dissipated in the heat. And there's no way to really capture the energy perfectly without superconductors or, things that are physically unrealizable in a simple laboratory demonstration. So I wanted to get that out of the way to show in the beginning of the video what the constituents of electricity are and what its various manifestations were, to kind of establish the language of electricity to be used in the video.
Right, and also to establish the high bar that we weren't going to, pull any wool over anybody's eyes, and we were going to hold ourselves to account to, facts and reality. So I think that was the whole purpose of it. So I thought there was a as far as I could see, it was a brilliant opening sequence of setting the standard of zero bullshit.
It's the things that you never learned in college.
Exactly. So
The most important facts that were left out.
Yeah.
Which is so evident today that there is no longer any comprehension of even the most basic principles of electricity anymore that haven't been thoroughly adulterated by the physicists. And what's happening to the electrical utility system is a horrid example of how far this thing is going, and it can only lead to an absolute catastrophe, but there's nothing we can do about it.
Yeah, we can watch.
Watch,
Yeah.
And listen.
Some pretty important stuff there.
I agree with most of what he said, except for the fact that when magnetics just turns to heat and there's absolutely no way of getting, did he call it free energy? Or I'm not exactly sure what he called it.
No.
I disagree. But
Yeah.
So had one half of the disc was north to south going through it, and the other half of it was south to north going through it, and just glued all that crap onto the copper disc, and spun it up, and put brushes between the inside of the donut and the
He's talking about the end machine.
shaft, and that's what we got, and it was one cycle per revolution, but it shows that.
Is that what's in the video? That particular setup? Or
No, we don't have any video of. This is an arrangement that I
later. Okay.
Yeah, I did this last year.
Okay.
Okay.
But it's the same thing as is in the video.
Yeah, that just shows 4 rectangular magnets, and those were ceramic, magnets. And that was only on one side of the disc too. Those magnets were only on one side of the
Okay,
disc.
so basically you took it to the next step.
Yeah, we took it to the next step. We wanted to
Yeah.
re-verify that there was real currents and stuff like that, and because we had assumed that we could transform the voltages, but we had never actually did that on the initial video. And all I'm saying is that I've gone back and re-verified that every speculation that we made in the video about what was possible with that arrangement is now established fact.
So about 6-7 years ago or whatever, the only I've done a few, some experiments with this end machine business with rotating permanent magnets, and the only other way I know of how to get the voltage up, I did a little presentation called the high voltage end machine.
Yeah.
Kind of a goofy little machine, but what I did was I took one of these neo cylindrical magnets on a shaft. I had a little brass flywheel on there, and I spun it up with the remote control car motor. And then I had the brushes, little copper strips on the perimeter of the magnet and right on the shaft. And of course, you get the expected almost no voltage and some current. And so what I did was I commutated it on the magnet, and starting off with putting electrical tape and little strips periodically around it.
Yeah. All he made the thing do is so he just let the brush bounce.
That's right.
That was it. And that works too.
And so I commutated the brush around the magnet, and then the two wires, I had those going out to the input of a low resistance performance ignition coil, like 0.3 ohms or something like that. And so as it's commutating the output of the magnet into the input of the primary of the ignition coil, the high voltage step up would charge a capacitor up.
Well, did you have a diode on that?
What's that?
Did you have a diode on the output of the?
I did. Yeah, I had a diode on the positive.
Yeah.
And then the high voltage output. Yeah, I think I had a full wave bridge actually off of the ignition coil with one N914 diodes or something. I can't remember what it was. And so then I had it going to a little pulse capacitor. And the capacitor, and then I had a little Ne2 neon bulb in parallel with that pulse capacitor. And those trigger at like 90 to 110 volts ballpark, something like that. And so as soon as the capacitor would get over to the flash voltage of the neon bulb, the little neon bulb would blink, and then the capacitor would charge back up and it'd blink. So here's this neon bulb blinking at about 100 volts, just going deep, 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 proving that you can get high voltage. And so I think it was the first time since Faraday invented the thing that anybody blinked anything as high as a neon bulb directly off of a spinning magnet. And there's a stupid little commutator version that I came up with. And then what I found out was I removed all the little strips, and because these strips were in kind of bad shape, just the brush noise alone actually commutated and pulsed the output of the magnet into the ignition coil better than the commutated version. And so just by having that noise on there, as the magnet's spinning, worked even better. So it's kind of interesting that Peter's behind the AC one, and I came up with a stupid little commutated.
Well, pulse DC. But I mean, the point is that considering that Faraday discovered this in 1831, and some of the best minds in the world, including Tesla and who knows else, never figured out how to get anything other than flatline DC out of it. Duh. I mean, it's like people's the real holdback in this whole field is a lack of imagination, unwillingness to just try something silly. And
so I'll stop it there so we can carry a discussion about this.
Very true. Lack of imagination. That is the biggest thing. Right. But then again, like I said, academia, they literally retard, pardon the language, but they retard all their students by not allowing them to look into certain avenues and forcing them to look down avenues that they don't really want to do. But at the same time, they got to get their PhD, so they have to write their papers. And
They're following
They'll
the
never
cost.
find it.
Yeah.
What's that?
The one important thing I'd like to add in this video, they're talking about free energy. Now, Tesla states that the only free energy that exists, okay, and I want everybody to listen to this because this might piss some people off.
Probably.
But the fact is, Tesla says, it'll come a time when we will be able to plug in our devices to the wheelworks of nature. Okay, so that means the outside of the system is free energy. So, for example, solar. That's one. All right. Does that piss anybody off right now? Because that is free energy right there. Okay. Number two, hydro. We use hydro all the time. That's another free energy device. Does that piss anybody off yet? Okay, I don't hear anything. So there is free energy. Those are just two examples. There's geothermal, there's wind power, all these. And Tesla stated you might have to use one or more devices to keep your device running. You don't rely on just, say, solar or just hydro. You got to have a combination of 2 or 3 different devices.
Funny you say that.
So
Go ahead.
that is your free energy. Creating. They did an experiment. Okay, Dollard and Peter Lindemann and Mike Knox back in 1987. It was called the zero reluctance coil motor, and they were getting effects. So, second law of thermodynamics states that energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be changed from one form to another. Well, it turned out we did this experiment, and lo and behold, they were putting over a kilowatt of power into the device. And then the energy just mysteriously just disappeared without a trace. No heat, no vibration, no sound, no light, no nothing. So guess what, people? They were able to violate the second law of thermodynamics, not by creating power, but by destroying power. They were able to destroy power without a trace. So the second law of thermodynamics was violated. So Eric Dollard says, this gives us more than reason to explore this further. So it opens up the door to, so we've violated one part of the thermodynamic law. We've destroyed power. How about creating power? So that leaves the door open. So we were able to destroy power where thermodynamics says you can't. They were able to do it in a lab, put over a kilowatt of power into the device, and everything coming out of the device just vanished. It disappeared into like a different dimension.
Yeah, that's what they figure. Yeah.
So because of that, they did violate the second law of thermodynamics. They were able
Which makes it possible for the other end to happen.
Exactly. So
well, did the energy converted or like in?
They don't know where it went. It just disappeared from the system. They were showing the draw from the device. It was drawing in over a kilowatt of power, but on the output of the device, the energy disappeared.
There was no negative interference or anything like that?
Nothing. They couldn't detect any heat, no light, no vibration.
It just went
melting. It just went poof, disappeared.
Yep. It makes me think of like a billion things at the moment, but one of them, let's say like this is data, still data. This is information, flowing. If they're able to make like a second or 3 seconds or 10 seconds of data, and that's energy, disappear from the beginning to the end or from the end to the beginning, they could, if this technology is available as such, then it could like manipulate a lot and they can do whatever they want.
Yeah, exactly. There's another device that actually does this, is a neon sign transformer. Okay, if you take a neon sign transformer, turn it on, it will show it's consuming power. And if you take the leads and not make them spark and just hold them apart, it will still consume power, but nothing. It's not going anywhere. It's disappearing. Now, if you do it too long, it will eventually start to burn itself out. But you could do it for a couple, about 20, 30 seconds, where you could turn it on. It's drawing power, and it's consuming power, but it's also disappearing.
Okay, so as we know, power can't just disappear. It's being converted to something else, another field.
Well, this is what they're saying. They weren't able to trace the power going out of the system. They don't know where it went.
Yeah, that one's confusing.
Right?
Yeah.
When it comes to like switching electromagnetic coils, if you switch them fast enough, you could cycle that heat into voltage. It's called pyroelectricity. Just because of the switching, it's so fast that it does not give the ability for heat to enter into the system. It actually uses the heat. So that's another way. I wouldn't say it breaks thermodynamics. I'd say it actually complements it, but at the same time,
it neutralizes it.
Yeah.
It neutralizes it. So, okay, if it's neutralizing it, and if thermodynamics says it cannot be destroyed, okay, that means there's a conversion happening. Okay.
Yeah, at a very quick, fast, small rate.
Right. But if it's converting, where is it converting to? Is it in
Well, it would be absorbed into the EM field or the electrostatic field with the spin that's created when the system's running.
Mhm.
Therefore, with the flow, it's actually being captured. Kind of like how you capture or you move the heat around in your apartment with a fan, right? It's kind of the same effect. As that spin is going,
it's it'd be kind of like dissipating the energy into the dielectric ether.
Yeah, you could say that. Yeah.
I'm thinking
Absolutely.
of quantum eraser kind of like how if one place it lights up before the second, although two of them started, it omits completely one out. So it has to be something that they can, like a diffraction or of that, where it could just disappear.
I believe that it's all about the fields.
If there's some sort of frequency or something like that, it's possible the energy creates some destructive interference and creates some dark photons. Dark photons, it's something. It's like the double slit experiment.
I've heard that new theory. I don't agree with it, but I get it though.
It's going into a black hole.
It's like the dark.
Yeah. You know what? I'm sorry. I don't agree with the whole black hole theory or Bob Grenier when it comes to ball lightning being so destructive it's going to blow the earth up. I mean, give me a break.
Yeah.
If that was the case, you
I
need a machine the size of a city.
I've seen lately online that there's quite a few people out there starting to challenge the black hole theory.
Yeah. I kind of go along the lines with what's that doctor's name? Sorry, brain fart. He talks about
Roger Penrose.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I go. That's the gentleman who's disabled and I think he's 72, and he's still rocking.
He's getting up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have to agree with some of the stuff he's saying.
Yeah, not all of it, but some of it.
There's a side to that. Dark side to that physicist, man.
There's a dark side to almost every physicist out there.
Oh, the one. Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that, Lulu. I want to.
Well, go ahead.
Eric Dollard says there is no place for a physicist in electrical technology. Amen.
100%. 100%. They should stay out of it.
And that's exactly what Eric Dollard said.
Yeah. They don't know their ass from a hole in a wall. What's a physicist going to do? Theorize on whether or not that white cable and the black cable should go in that hole or that hole? Come on.
We're going to wait 100 years for their conclusion on that.
Maybe they'll have a theory about it. I don't know.
Well, you didn't hear what Einstein did. there was a story that Eric Dollard was talking about. There was guys working on one of these old Navy battleships. It was back in the 1930s, and Einstein was on board the ship, and there was a pretty well-to-do engineer. He was, a full-blown naval engineer, and they had a problem in the deck there with one of the transformers, and Mr. Einstein said, to hook it up in this configuration, and he looked at Einstein and he says, if we do that, we're going to have a major blast, right? So the physicist, are you going to listen to me, or are you going to listen to you or your superiors? So he basically trumped out using his superiors to make him hook up the transformer, and he knew the second you would flip that knife switch, it would be kaboom. So the little bugger, he leaves the ship, he flips the switch because the superior is breathing down his neck, and everybody in that section of the ship was killed instantly.
Leave it to a physicist, eh?
Yep.
And I bet you Einstein just walked away and went and had a beer and pulled up a potato.
Yep, it didn't care at all. Yeah,
That's
physicist
what
has
you get
no
when you're
business
part of
in
the elite.
electrical engineering.
Yeah, that sucks. Engineers are the ones that actually get the
Isn't that
job.
like it goes
Physicists are
along?
the ones that play in the sandbox. Go ahead.
I'm saying but it depends on the science that is being developed. Like it go like these two fields working on advanced sciences. It has to go together.
I disagree. And I'll say that only because of where I'm at now. I'm playing with lasers and I'm getting diffusion inside of my coils that I shouldn't be getting. I'm seeing things that shouldn't be possible. Why? Because I stepped outside the box. If I waited for a theorist to come up with the math or the theory behind what might happen if we do this or that, I'd be waiting 50 years.
And what Eric Dollard said, he goes, good old-fashioned experimentation and engineering on the table will always trump the physics. Always.
The physics are always come after to explain the experiment that actually was observed. And sure, it does have to get repeated and observed by many others.
It has to be totally repeatable, yes.
Yeah, but it still has to, the physicist comes later.
But I was listening to Jack Sarfati. Sarfati, and all he's doing is intimidation. He was saying, so some engineer was saying, he's getting that effect, and then Sarfati was saying,
all he is a condescending, typical physicist.
Yeah. He doesn't intimidate me. I like Jack. He'd make me laugh. I was sitting in front of him and he started yelling at me. I'm sorry, but I think I'd make him. I would just laugh in his face, man. Yeah, I would howl so hard and have tears rolling down my eyes. I'd be like, Jack, calm down, man. You're gonna have a heart attack, buddy. Please.
You know what? The way I seen him and how he treats people. I take him as a joke now. When I see him now, I just laugh. I don't even take the guy serious anymore. Because he's kind of killed that, because he's always trying to stab every single person that goes against his narrative.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
It's like everybody in the physics realm. They all want to have the Holy Grail. They all want their name at the top and to be king. That's what it is. That's what I've seen it so many times. It's unreal.
He's also
he's got the
he's that young. Like old people.
No, he's in his 80s, I think, isn't he?
Yeah,
he's up there.
Grumpy.
He's up there.
He's grumpy, yeah. He thinks he's going to win the Nobel Prize or something. That's why I was saying the Nobel Prize system is a cartel,
Oh, it is.
It's all bullshit. It's all. Yep. You know what? I rub the Nobel Prize and use it as, toilet paper, because that's
when it comes to the Nobel, you're selected, not elected. Does that make sense? Because you know how it's supposed to work. Yeah, you're supposed to sit in front of a team of laureates, and they're supposed to go over your stuff. And you did it. This is great.
Yeah,
but you're selected long before.
It's toilet paper. The Nobel Prize is toilet paper. That's all it is.
It comes along with your work being It has to be patented. It has to be peer reviewed. In other words, it has to be stolen by the military industrial complex, and it has to be locked out from you. And wait, that tech may be too top secret for even you to work on. We got another team. So you get gone. Here's your check. See you later. Not my cup of tea. Teach your own, right? If none of my inventions, go ahead, Lulu. I'm sorry.
No, I could think they do this to like space out how fast technology needs to go. And so, you know, if they say like they have a surplus of whatever amount of technology like that is in product that needs to, that needs to be consumed before they, decide to, let the next thing in. Sometimes, the companies and the global agreements, require this many years to sustain such technology because everybody benefits from it. And so
you want to know what I think, Lulu, when it comes to the global agreement? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I'm thinking on a bigger scale. Like, what would be so worth like, hiding this kind of stuff when it does better for everybody? Like
you want to know what it is? Complete control. Why and how? It's simple. Guys that were working in their garages and their basements came up with stuff that was incredible. They tried patenting it. That patent was taken in the realm of national security and then put away. So what? We're not going to give it to the people? No, we are. But we have to have something that the people all agree with. It's got to be a president or a king or, oh, wait, none of them want to listen. I got it. AI is going to come up with all these inventions. We'll say that AI created it. That way it's that intellectual property. We own it all, and we can release it when we want to whatever company we want so that they make money and we hold control. That way, the people think we're the heroes, and we get to eat our cake and the ice too.
So it's all about money. It's all about
the last 85 years.
Yeah, it's all about money and control. And
look at John Trump. He put out a free energy. Well, I wouldn't call it free energy device, but he put out a device and he used the name by Onozine Pibro. It's a French name. I'm not pronouncing it properly. But the patent's electrostatic energy conversion system from November 28th, 1978. And the patent number is 4,127,804. And it's a United States patent. And it's a device to collect energy from the sun for free. And it was done by John Trump.
Yeah.
Donald's uncle. Right? Well, where do you think he got that from? He was the first one on the scene at Nikola Tesla's when he died.
Exactly. Yep.
So call it conspiracy, call it whatever
he was the
proofs in the pudding, and they got chocolate.
He was the gatekeeper for Tesla stuff after he died.
Yeah.
Apparently there was over 8 trunks full of documentation. 8 trunks.
And he also, his personal journal that had everything to do with his time experiments that sat beside his bed disappeared. I wonder where that went. Nobody ever talks about that personal journal of his. Leather bound, both sides. And it was, the binding was done in leather strip, like tied together.
Right.
Yeah. So very interesting.
Bernie's in the house.
I'm just going to scoot out. I'm just going to scoot out for a quick smoke. I'll be right back.
No worries. I was listening. My computers are ridiculously slow. I don't know what's going on, but got to figure something out.
Scrub the Windows and install Linux.
That's a good idea, Phil. Good to see Gerald. Glad you're back. Hope you're doing well.
Awesome. I'm doing awesome. I'm about to come up with multiple systems all at once. It's kind of actually what this is about. I'm creating a solar generator that runs off one solar panel, but produces 10,000 watts.
What?
That's pretty cool.
Wild.
Yeah,
Can
well,
I,
okay, so do you remember the alternator generator?
Yes.
Okay, so what this is this is a VFD, but it's a DC VFD. So it takes a solar panel, takes the DC, and runs it to a 3-phase motor. That 3-phase motor runs 4 alternators that, when they're all running into the batteries, literally accumulates 10,000 watts. So I don't want to give away my big reveal, but the thing that I built goes along with charging the batteries. And at night, when I'm using the batteries, if they get low whatsoever, I flip a switch, and this will run the alternator generator off the batteries and charge everything up. It's kind of I'm not explaining it right. You have to see
It's
it.
a dynamic system with
It's very
multiple
dynamic.
parts.
Absolutely. And it's not free energy. It's just, how do I explain that? It's a
Efficiency.
ambient
very
energy
efficient.
converter?
I'll say it's very efficient. What's that?
Ambient energy converter?
Yeah, you could say that.
There's no wires. This is what you're saying. You flip the switch and whatever is.
Oh, no, there's wires. Think of it this way. One solar panel runs this VFD.
Okay.
This VFD runs the motor that turns 4 alternators
Okay.
that gives out 360 amps all at once. But they don't go just directly to batteries. They go to capacitor banks. It's a very dynamic system. I've been working on this for a long time. This is the kind of thing. What's that?
Can you scale it up like to 500,000 amps or something like that?
Well, I don't know about that high, but right now, this is the kind of thing that I could sell whatever to a fire department, and they can bring it to a place in the middle of the country that's burning down, flip a switch, and within 3 minutes have 10,000 watts of power like that. No issues.
No, cool.
Yeah.
Anywhere. You can literally take this thing and it's a power plant. So if you needed to build a house and it's in the Antarctica, it doesn't matter. Bring it. It'll work.
Wow.
That's my claim.
You
But
said
again,
so it is attached to
reveal.
solar though, right? So
Sorry?
you said it's attached to solar as well?
Yeah, one solar panel runs the alternator generator. That's why it's a solar generator. Like a true solar generator. Not the ones that are like a bunch of batteries with a power inverter and the solar panel charges that. They call that a solar generator. Well, it's not generating power per se, but this one solar panel is generating enough power to run the alternator generator. That's a solar generator. Do you know what I mean by that? So
It's like
that's
powering with it. What the capability? Like if you were to power a rocket, you would call it a solar rocket. You know?
Yeah, I guess you could. Yeah, I get your point. Yeah, right. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm going to be doing a big reveal. I know I've been saying that, but I've been getting all the parts in play. And I made a big mistake, and I'm going to show it on video. It's awesome. I built a circuit that allows you to charge capacitor banks in series, but then discharge in parallel. So you get all the current out. But I had it working on my desk, and I thought it was all smart. Drilled it all to the board, made it look all pretty, wired it wrong. As soon as I turned it on, I blew all 6 relay switches. It was awesome. It was awesome. So I've got that on video. I'm going to put that out so you guys see that.
Nice.
I made lots of mistakes.
Are you going to sell your device or what?
Am I going to sell it?
Yeah.
I'm considering it.
Okay.
But at the same time, I'm not sure if I'm going to open source certain aspects of it. I'm still debating on that one.
Okay.
Yeah. Like there's sorry?
If you need help commercializing stuff, talk to me and Mike.
I was talking to Bernie about this last year. I have a system that totally reduces the footprint of solar panels and bypasses all the Canadian laws, and it's legal.
Yeah, I figured out
That's
one
what we
too.
need.
Yeah, and it has to do with 6 solar panels in one system, but those 6 solar panels produce over 4,000 watts. Actually, I think it's 52. The math is right.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be part of the big reveal. Go ahead, Mike.
Nice.
I got a system that's around the same idea as yours, but I would be able to take, say, 2 100-watt solar panels, and they say the maximum output, the ones I have, is about 6 amps. Well,
Yeah.
with my system, I should be able to get over 25 to 30 amps.
I went and scaled this up a little hard. I've got 550-watt solar panels bifacial that produce 720 watts when they're at max. So they produce large. I'm going for large power. I want to be able to run 2 houses off of one dynamic system. That's the goal.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike, can you share my screen? The screen?
Yeah, hold on one sec here.
I have to take off in 5, just so you guys are aware.
You got to take off in 5 or 4-5?
In 5 minutes or so.
Okay, well, sorry, Phil. How about we hold off quickly? And you got any other things to discuss, good sir, or Gerald? Or
No. Let Phil go, and then
Okay.
I'll just give you a quick update of what I'm working on, and then I'll take off. Sorry.
Yeah, you guys were talking about sharing energy, but there's Caltech in Japan. They're working on that device that converts sun's energy and beam it to the earth. It's actually converting the frequency and the density of a light beam, so it kind of it goes through the clouds and everything. It goes on the surface of the earth. So can you imagine having all these multiple beams all focused at one point? I think that would be a pretty damn good source of energy as well. That's all I want to, the cool stuff I want to share right now, so that people are aware of the type of technology they're working on.
As long as people understand, the free energy myth has really bothered me in the last couple of weeks.
That word's so bastardized.
Yeah, it's driving me crazy.
Yeah.
If anything, I more or less refer to my systems as over unity systems, not free energy systems.
Super efficient. That's even better.
Extreme efficiency.
Yeah.
So if you're able to pull in a little bit of power, well, you can get a lot out of that little bit of power.
Did you guys see my recent YouTube videos?
Yeah, I seen the last one you did there. Yeah.
Yeah, running a 110 volt, 23-watt LED bulb off of a 6-volt battery. And I timed it. I ran it for 6 hours and it was still running, but it dimmed out, right? And then I had to shut it off because I had to go do something. So it's pretty interesting. Now, if you run that off the capacitor bank in that circuit I've got, which I'm going to share, because that circuit everybody should have, it literally gives the ability of almost any system to run at the most high efficiency rate. Apparently, one of the things that most engineers can't do or don't do is the ability to charge capacitors in series and discharge in parallel, because that's how you get current out of caps, right? Because then you can run, say, 3 cap banks at like 3 500 farad cap banks at 32, 40. So say 46 to 48 volts, charge them really fast at 48 volts, but then release it in parallel at 16. So that goes directly into your batteries, or you're using it as a load.
Cap dumping. Yeah, it's a simple cap dumping circuit. If you figure it out, you can get a lot out of a solar panel using that method.
Absolutely. Yeah. You can get a lot out of almost anything. Even my DM coil, man. Well, like I said, really efficient. Free energy, I won't state that. Over unity, I like that term. I'll call it really efficient.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more realistic, until somebody comes up with some incredible material that can extract energy with no energy input. That's kind of the golden egg everybody's after. But right now with our material science, we're just not there yet. I'm sorry.
Well, I have to take off, but I'm going to leave a golden egg with you. Do you guys remember the coil I made with the 1/4-inch copper tube? I didn't make it. All you've seen was the 1/4-inch copper tube.
Right.
Okay, well, it's done. I'll say that, and I'll say that I found a way of scientifically proving pyroelectricity through that coil.
Nice.
Depending on if you run cold water through it or hot water, I can change the voltage. And it's evident.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'm going to show that off probably next time.
That would be what, a thermoelectric conversion?
Yeah. Yeah, you can call it. It's pyroelectricity, but yeah, thermoelectric conversion. Absolutely.
So you need a temperature potential or something?
Yeah, well, if I run hot water through it, I get a higher potential.
Pyro means fire, right?
Yeah, you know what, though? That's
Or
how
heat.
I don't know if I'm saying it right, but that's how it's spelled. So look it up. Look it up. Pyroelectricity. It's the ability to turn heat into useful electricity or voltage.
Yeah.
That's the definition anyway.
Something similar to, say, like the Peltier device.
Yeah, except it's through switching, right? So high voltage switching. Yeah.
I saw a video the other day, like they used the wire inside of a hair dryer. It's a particular material that emits, it converts like the, electrical.
It's probably a carbon.
Carbon. Yeah. What is it called?
Yeah, like a carbon material.
Yeah, like they uncoiled it and they reused it for another experiment. But I never thought.
Nitinol is another one.
That wire.
Nitinol is another one.
Yeah.
Well, Gerald, we look forward to seeing that. And
absolutely, it's going to be ASAP, man. It's just I've been super busy. I don't want to tell you what's been going on because things they've been going well, and I don't want to jinx it. Not from you guys, but in my experience, if I tell anybody the good things that have been going on, shit goes sideways. So I'll just keep it to myself.
How about the spherical coil? Are you still working on that?
Yes, actually, I have that complete. I will show that too. That has some very interesting properties, we'll say. Makes the spherical Tesla coil look a little... we'll just say it's intense indifference. Okay? Cool. We'll say that. Awesome. I love Sean's work. Sean does awesome work.
Absolutely.
The spherical coil that I built in comparison to his, totally different. Like the anomalies are different. The fields are different. It reacts in a very strange way. But I'll get into that in the future. I actually have to take off. I appreciate you giving me the link and all your guys' time. And to your audience out there.
Don't be a stranger.
I won't. I'll be here. What's that? Bert?
You got to come back and share. You're teasing us with so many goodies, but that's amazing.
Well, I've been working hard on this stuff, dude. I'm getting to the completion of my work. I mean, I'm done. Like now I'm, how do I say that? I'm perfecting the devices that are getting ready to go to commercial markets. But before I do that, I'm going to do a big reveal and show everybody the accumulation of the last 15 years of work. And I think people will be pretty excited about it. I'm going to release a lot of golden eggs that day. So it's going to have to be, I think, like a I'll have to steal some of your time, Mike. Might be like a half hour, 40 minutes.
Hey,
My big lips
we will
flap.
give you as much time as you need always, my friend.
I have to do some live demonstrations too. The little generator that could, that sucker, man. Add a few parts and you'd think, okay, I'm going to just drain the energy. It's not going to work. No, it worked better. Now it's like cycling it. I don't want to get into it. Okay, we'll get into that in the future.
Let's tag Mike's channel with a bunch of historical findings this year. So it's going to be cool, man.
Yeah.
I should get the Nobel Prize now.
Hey, you can have it. But guess what?
Yeah.
I want some of that cash. No,
There.
Hey, send me $50. We'll call it a day. I could buy a 2 for then.
Yeah.
You guys have a great day. Thanks for your time.
Yeah.
And we'll see you hopefully next Friday.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Later, guys.
Much love. Looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah.
Gerald.
I'm going to visit Bernie.
Yes, you are. In
Weekend at Bernie's.
Right? A real weekend there with Bernie.
Yeah. Talking about, I didn't want to say it, but the Oilers are doing pretty good right now. So I think they're in the semifinal, the second round.
Nice. I have not been paying attention to hockey, but if Alberta's
the Leafs got killed.
Oh, they're out.
Got killed the other day. Oh, they lost 6-1.
Aren't they playing right now?
Florida. They're I don't think they're playing tonight.
Yeah, no, they're playing right now. It's do or die, I think.
Okay, yeah. I know the other day they lost 6-1. It's like, oh. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Should maybe pop on the screen. What's that? Leafs are 1-0. I just been told.
Oh, cool. Yeah, so you guys saved the day because the Canadian couldn't do shit. So
in Ottawa,
Flames too. We're a shanty team in Calgary these days, I believe.
Yeah.
But we got the Oilers. Yay!
The Canucks, they're not. I haven't heard about them for a long time too.
Right? Oh well. As an Albertan, oh well. But that's hockey. Back to inventing. What's do you want to go a little bit more into your device, Mike? And Nathan, are you gonna join?
Nathan?
Old Man Bill's in the chat.
I sent him an invite. He's welcome to jump on if he wants.
He's
here. I'm going to show my project I was working on earlier. I'll show it one more time. Hold on here. Just bear with me here for a sec. I'm going to do a screen share.
Nice. Nathan gonna hop on in a minute.
So that's what I was working on today. Can you see the screen okay?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So that's the inside. I got the power cables, 1-gauge power cables. I built a board. The solar charge controller is up here, Renogy. And then that's the back of the unit with the cables hooked up. It's a 2 kilowatt inverter. It's got two 100 amp hour Power Queen batteries, the lithium iron phosphate batteries, the LiPo Force. Built-in BMS systems. It's got a lot of safety features, overheating protection in it. So yeah, I'm building it for a friend of mine. It's like a box that's got wheels on it, and you just got the handle on it, and you can take it camping if you're off the grid. It will come with a solar panel, and yeah, you got 2 kilowatts of power there. You could run a small fridge for about 3 days with it. You know, those little thermos ones that are, electric powered, and they're refrigerators. You can plug that right in and, keep your food cold for the whole weekend. So, yeah, I'm working on stuff like this.
Question, like, have you put like a price tag on these units?
Yeah, this unit here is, well, I won't say, but it's about the 2 kilowatt. The price is the hardware and the labor to build it and get all the parts and all that. So this unit here is starting around 4,000.
Okay. I'm asking this because this is a really good product for emergency.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah,
like,
very much so. Yeah.
yeah, if there's a hurricane somewhere, you know, these could be put like on a,
Sure.
people could like wire the, you know, to it and get electricity, you know, so it has a bigger potential of use.
Yep. So you can take this on the road. This unit weighs about 60 pounds, so it's not too heavy. The batteries kind of determine it. That's why I did the LiPo PO4 batteries, the lithium iron phosphate. They're a dry cell. They're not like your standard lithium battery. These guys won't blow up. They also got built-in BMS system, full heat and thermal protection. So if they do overheat, the battery will shut off for 10 minutes automatically, and then it will turn on as soon as it cools off. So that's actually built within the battery itself. I didn't have to wire anything. It just comes like that. So they're great batteries. They got great reviews. Guys did teardowns on them and put them through their paces, and they performed actually quite well compared to other batteries on the market in the same with the same parameters. So yeah, so this is the project. Hopefully next week it'll be all done, and I'll start doing my first tests with it, make sure everything's working, and then I gotta deliver it.
Hey, Big Nathan's in the house.
Big B. I think your mic is not on. You're muted there, Nathan.
Sorry. Yeah, huge cables on there, man.
1 gauge, man.
That's
gauge.
like the stuff that comes into my house.
Yeah, monster, man. 200 amps go through that.
Wow.
Yep.
Dang, that's a lot, man. That inverter is huge too.
Yeah,
Thing on top.
2 kilowatt.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
a lot of juice.
man.
Yeah, you can run small. Actually, you can run a full size fridge with this thing. Like my fridge behind me is a full size GE. Only takes 180 watts. 180 watts. That's it. I can run that whole fridge for probably, with this system, like nonstop, probably two days without any. Yeah. If I add more batteries to it, yeah, I get a lot more life. But this unit was meant to be small and compact, right? Just chuck it in the back of the car and go camping for a weekend. So
That's like the RV power for the little mini camper or something.
Yep, you could use that for it. It would power the it would run an RV no problem. Yeah, this thing could run a small heater. It could run your microwave oven, fans, small AC unit you could hook up to it. But yeah, certain things are going to draw a lot of current, right? So.
Oh yeah, dude, my father-in-law would have loved that. He took a little battery, a 12-volt battery, to his bird show so he can watch TV on it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So he would have loved something like that.
Yeah, like the LiPo batteries, these are about 35% less weight than your standard lead acid battery in the same size. So each of those batteries, I got 2 of them in there, and they weigh 20 pounds each.
Okay.
So
another thing, but can you use it as a charger?
You could charge stuff with it, but depending on how much it's going to charge, like how many amps it's going to pump out, right? Those are those batteries are 100 amp hour, right? So the 2 batteries together puts out 2,680 watt hours with the 2 batteries combined.
Yeah, because I'm asking because at some point I bought a portable charger. You charge it up and then you can plug your computer for a couple of hours on it.
Yeah. Well, this unit would run your computer for probably a week.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
Do you have a way to connect it to, like, say, your pickup truck or something like that to recharge the batteries?
Yeah, you could. Yeah. All you need is jumper cables, and or you can get a home charger, and you can plug that in through a cigarette lighter, and then connect that to your terminals inside the UPS, and you can charge it up that way.
Oh, right on.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not hard. Yeah. It's a very versatile little package. I try to make it as small as possible so it's easy for them. So,
Well, yeah, if somebody goes out of power, they have a brownout in their neighborhood,
Yep.
whatever, that's
Exactly.
perfect.
2 kilowatt. The system I'm going to make is a 3 kilowatt system for my lab. So I could always use that if something happens, power goes out. I can always pull that thing home and hook her up, and have lights and hook it up to a microwave if I have to, toaster oven, whatever. I have a way of keep the fridge going so my food doesn't go bad.
How about off the grid concert for speakers? Oh,
Yeah, they'll pull a lot of juice. But yeah, like if you have a small little entertainment system that you take with you on the road, yeah, they'll power that for hours and hours.
You got to get your Renegade device to recharge it, kind of like Bedini was talking about with dead batteries and charging it with his.
Yep. I'm going to do something pretty interesting with the solar. I got a new circuit that will basically put out about 8 times the amount of power on, say, a 100-watt solar panel to get 8 times the amount of power out of it.
Okay.
Yeah. So
That'd be good.
Yeah. Yeah. The idea came to me from Peter Linderman. He did a setup similar to this back in 1987 with Michael Knox and explained the device in one of his videos. And it's like, I can make that.
Yeah.
I got all the parts to do it too.
Oh, dude, you could just stick it on a roof rack right on top of your cab, and the 2 solar panels, and just rock it all the way down the road.
Well, the whole point is to get a lot of power out of very few solar panels. So if you get, say, 200-watt solar panels, 2 of them, that's 400 watts, you can get 8 times that amount of power out of those with this circuit. So, like the 100-watt solar panels that I have, they can put out 6 amps. With this circuit, I could put out 20 to probably 40 amps of power coming out.
Right on.
Yeah. So that'll greatly enhance. It's not, we got solar, we got hydro, water, geothermal. We have free energy. It's out there. And Tesla says the only free energy right now is connecting to the wheelworks of nature. So let's connect to nature. Well, solar is one, hydro is another. So we've been using free energy for a very, very long time. It's just people don't associate that with free energy. Well, that's the free energy right there.
Oh, yeah.
Because in my eyes, what free energy is to me? In my
It's
terms,
energy that is free.
Yeah.
A decentralized power system. That's
exactly.
That's what
absolutely.
Well, what do you think a solar panel is? It's just a better radiant energy catcher that Tesla talked about.
Right.
That's all it is.
Yeah, exactly.
And all you got to do is improve the efficiency of it, and man, you're good to go. If you get up to 80%, you're rocking, man. That's amazing.
This will go way far, surpass that. This circuit is so ridiculously easy. When you see it, you're going to go, really? And you're going to go, yeah. Because, say, solar panels, they don't like to create current. They like to create voltage. So what you do is you take the 2 solar panels, you put them in series. So now you got double the voltage, right? So now the idea is to take that voltage and make it into current. And there's one very easy system, and I've actually used it in my Renegade device, and I can get 2, 3 times, 4 times the amount of current coming out. And it's not hard. When you see the circuit, you're going to go, wow, that's it. It's so easy.
Can you share the circuit, or that proprietary, or?
No, it's not proprietary. Very simple. You take your positive wire coming out of the solar panel, put a diode going out, and then what you do is you put it into a single throw relay, okay? And then, sorry, my bad. Dump it straight into a capacitor. So it takes, those big blue capacitors. Some are like 80 to 100 volts, like 20,000 microfarad. Okay, so you're going to want the diode going into that capacitor. What's going to happen is the capacitors like to suck up voltage, but when they discharge, they like to release amps. Okay, so you're going to fill up that capacitor as high as you can go, and at the right moment, you're going to hook up a relay switch right after the capacitor, and you're going to flip it. You're going to close the circuit. All that energy that just got stored into that capacitor is going to come out about 10 to 25 amps. That pulse is going to hit your battery. And you cycle that every 1 to 2 seconds. Fill it up, dump it, fill it up, dump it. And you do those hard pulses of 20, 30 amp pulses into that battery. You will charge that battery up 50 times quicker than you would just with straight voltage coming from your solar panel. So all it is it's a cap dumping circuit, and very effective, especially if you're using lead acid batteries. They love it. They absorb those amps because actually, that's a good point I just thought of too. You might also want to put it through a full wave bridge rectifier to make sure that that pulse is in the right polarity. And you just hammer the battery with 20, 30 amp pulses. That's going to get the battery boiling. And when you get the battery boiling, it's also going to desulfide the plates. Now, you don't want to go too high in the current. I would say 20 amps, that's decent. If you're going up to 100 amps, what's going to happen is the plates in your lead acid battery, they're going to start to bend. You're going to get damage occurring in those batteries. So if you keep it around 20 amps of pulses, you should be okay. I wouldn't go too crazy on the amps. So you might have to add a resistor in there somewhere to control the amp coming out or the duty cycle of the pulses. So it'll take a little bit of fine tuning, but it's totally engineerable and very, very effective. So I might actually write a schematic up and post it in my Patreon so people could check it out.
I was watching the Tesla Tower in action earlier on Nathan's channel, and I was wondering what's the current that goes through that tower? Do you know about?
Oh, I don't know.
Do you know what current goes through that tower? The amount of amps?
Well, I know Tesla, when he was working with his systems, they've been known to put out 2,500 amps.
Yeah, they put a lot.
Yeah.
By the way, just so you know, I dropped in the chat the PDF for the 500-page book that we're referencing right now. And let me just tell you, not only does it verify every single thing that I talk about, but it does it in the exact same language that I use. So when I tell you about a radiant field, it's 100% proof Tesla said the same exact thing. There's no question. There's no different, look at these bifilar plates. No. He referenced the Tesla coil directly. He talked about the radiant field. He talked about how it acted. 100% right in that book. So
very nice.
Just so you guys know.
Sadly, the link you posted wasn't working though, because I think it goes to your computer and not the internet.
Oh, sorry.
Source. Unless you want to give everyone your IP to directly connect to, but I don't know.
Oh, no. No, thank you. No, not for that. I'll find
You
another
don't
way to get
trust
it
the
out.
911 guy accessing your computer?
Oh, that guy. You guys still dealing with that troll? He comes on and
You know
messes
what?
with you?
He actually hasn't been on tonight. He must be sick.
Oh,
Yeah, I haven't seen him on tonight.
He's probably trolling somebody else.
Yeah.
yeah. At least it's not that other guy, man. Oh, I hate that guy. Oh well.
Yeah, there's plenty of those. You can never have too many trolls, right?
Yeah. Oh man, that's okay though.
Yeah, just extra views.
Yeah, you could see it that way. Yeah.
And you know you're on to something when you have the trolls, right?
Huh.
Yeah.
Me and Bernie had the best troll ever. Remember that, Bernie?
Yep. Oh God, that was not good.
I have a question, but not on this topic. Like your comments on the APAC. What was that? Like it didn't, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm just
All
done
right.
with them.
Had
Yeah,
enough of APEC.
I don't know.
I think it's APEC is the problem with APEC. It's too much ego. You know, like everybody has to pet everybody on the back. You know, pet everybody on the back. It's a lot of fluffing going on.
Well, one thing that annoys me is that people against the mainstream all started APEC and now they decided to go full mainstream, you know? And, you know, it's...
And they've pushed out like over or about half of the founders too. So
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They just like push you aside like you didn't do anything.
I have a question. Has it become a corporate structure, like a company? Did they incorporate it, or is there a legal structure to it? Because if so, then now you understand why a lot of people are being pushed out. You
I
understand?
don't actually know, but it feels like it's definitely moving in that direction.
Mm-hmm.
So
It feels like they lost their edge with some of the inventors out there, and they have the same people on with the same projects at the same progress point.
Yep.
And it gets kind of redundant. It'd be nice to have fresh faces on there where they have different projects all together so that it'd be a different conversation. So that's the
Yeah.
only thing I noticed every time I watch it. I got the same 5 inventions I'm looking at. And
Yeah.
then I get a guy that puts me to sleep in front of a fireplace. And I know I need a nap once in a while, man, but I didn't expect to turn that on. Like, please take that guy off of there.
You know what? I just lost interest in APEC like really fast.
Well, I quit APEC since the beginning of this year.
see, you once in a while you have one of those like unicorns that like presents once in a while, but like you said, lately it's been very repetitive. You know, like there's like okay, I've heard like times already, like something new or high idea of whatever is existing. But
Yeah, I thought their goal was to find anti-gravity, but apparently it's just like some family reunion. I don't know what they're doing, but it's like a social group or something like that. Because I and other people already found anti-gravity and nobody's following up on it. So what's the point?
and I still didn't understand why they were recording the open, and they weren't recording the open mic anymore. That does not make sense.
Yeah, that's exactly the time that I quit APEC.
That does not make sense at all. Like,
Yeah.
like, why do you have these group of people discussing if there's no record of it?
Well, last time I went on there was 45 minutes discussion about who the moderator was going to be when Tim wasn't there. And it went on and on and on. And I was still waiting for the invention. And then when they got on there was a guy with the shaky device that was just motor shaking. And I'm still wondering what the hell that thing's supposed to do besides vibrate your butt. I mean, there's no rhyme or reason for it. So
Supposed to jackhammer your way to the moon, apparently.
yeah, uh huh.
I don't know. I missed that.
That's like at a gay sex shop or something is where that machine deserves to be, not on APAC. That was wrong, dude. That was hammering the wrong hole, buddy. You're I'm sorry, that device doesn't work. Like, we all learned this already. Like, even when you go in to take in your shop, you still put rubber grommets on your compressor to stop it from shaking like that. And by the way, my compressor is a much better shaker. It can move all the way across the whole place, man. It works great. Why would I need something like that? Because you can't shake the circuits on a spaceship like that. There's no way they would allow it. It's like, put a hula skirt on it, you know, maybe give it some hips, and maybe it might be all right. But the device was bad, man. It was like, as soon as you saw it, you should have looked the other way and said, I don't care how many millions he got, unless he's donating to the cause. This can't be on the air. This is just, yeah, it's awful. Sorry, rant of mine.
I am so glad I didn't, attend now. So thank you, Nathan.
Well, sorry. I'm all for it, man. Look, the first time I was on, there was a guy before me that talked about a space elevator. And I was all intrigued until he showed me his proof of concept where he took a drill and took a little 5 millimeter by 5 millimeter by 5 millimeter magnet that was squared. And all he did was this with the drill, and it spun right there. And I said, well, did you compensate for all the magnetic fields you're going to drop all over the entire city with the amount of energy you're going to need? Oh, there was no calculation for that. You know what I mean? So much as I liked the guy and I thought it was great to have something like that, the actual experiment was not quite up to par with the speech. So that's it. Not that I'm any better. Okay. I'm not any better. I like to talk a lot and I like to blow things up. So yes.
Yeah.
Blowing stuff up is really entertaining too, I might add.
Dude, I could make that whole room laugh, man, if I wanted to. Then people would be awake. They'd be watching.
You know what
I mean? But not very scientific.
That'd be more action that I've ever seen on APEC in the last 5 years I've ever watched it.
Telling you, man, take that shaking machine, put it in a gay disco, they'll find all new uses for it. Dude, that would have been like a whole room full of entertainment for them. They've been all for it.
Yeah, at some point, Tim got mad at me because I presented my strong force replacement. Why would he be mad at me? Makes no sense. So that was, well, strike through for him already. So fuck that shit.
Well, they have a conflict of interest. They want anti-gravity. However, they have a company based on making anti-gravity. So you basically go in there and spill your guts and tell them what you're going to do in anti-gravity. Then their company evaluates it and sees if they wanted to take it and use it. So It's not exactly as clean as it would sound. It's not like you go on somewhere and say, okay, this is what it is. I trust everybody here won't try to patent it out from under me. I trust that it's going to be, all just about the research, but not when you have a company that's over there actively trying to build it and will use everything you got if they think it's going to be to their advantage.
So we're doing all the R&D and somebody else take advantage of it?
Well, yeah. You haven't noticed that yet? I mean, it's written all over the place, man. I can't tell you how many people I've seen do this stuff. And I'm not singling anybody out over there or anything like that. I'm just saying it's a conflict of interest.
Yeah.
I mean, it was fine when we didn't have everybody else on there. You know what I mean? But once you switch the dynamic on who the presenter was and we all saw behind the scenes, it put a very clear, specific point on what was going on there. I mean, I'm sorry, but they changed it.
I was under the assumption when we first started that we were building something unique using, scientific papers using inventions, and we were in like creating these PDFs and sending in videos and sending in links, because it was being compiled somewhere. Why? Because you need this data if you're going to run anything intelligent, if you're going to create your own AI, if you're going to create any computer language, anything. You would need this, and this is good. This is papers, this is scientific, this is real stuff. This is not, it's like cleaning up the internet. This is what I thought we were doing. And these are the people that present, and if the presentation is worth, they would put it part of that, information on a server or somewhere, because it has a later use.
Oh, there's no doubt, Lulu, that they're going to take the good stuff and put it on air. Okay, so don't ever get that wrong. They will present it. It's what happens after that. I mean, what did you just give all the information? You gave it to a database for one company to use. Yes, they did create the database. Yes, they do have ability to use it. And yes, they are using it to secure contracts for multi-millions of dollars or thousands or however they do their business in order to fund their operation, because you can't take several families with kids and run that operation on chicken feed like we have.
True. You're right.
I mean, it's all common sense right in front of your face. As soon as Tim stopped doing all the presenting and we saw the image behind the screen, it was, okay, we see what's going on now. It's clear as day. I mean, if you didn't see it, you didn't want to see it. Let's just say it that way. And I've seen people come up and they're nice to you, man, and then they get somebody's number, and then all of a sudden, the next thing you know, all their stuff is now your stuff, and you're like, wow, that's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. I didn't care for that at all. That's why I just give it out for free, because, well, what are you going to do now? I mean,
yeah, the first time I went on APEC, I basically said to the guys, and I probably said this story once before or twice before, I said, you're getting nowhere with your anti-gravity until you figure out the free energy first. Since you figure out the over unity or energy system, then you can start talking about your
they're directly tied together. The energy density, time dilation, and the gravity is actually is a differential of time dilation. That's all it is, which is proportional to the energy density. So that's all it is.
Yeah, since you figure out the free energy, quote unquote, I hate using that name. It drives me absolutely batty. Infinite energy coming into the system, then the anti-gravity will be figured out at the same time. That's my opinion.
It thickens the field by slowing down time, changing the dynamic of it. That's exactly what it's doing. You guys are right.
Yeah, it's very simple. And why do you think no PhD wants to debate me on the APEC chat? I welcome them. Why isn't Jack Safardi debating me on the open, or Dr. Chester or whoever? They all quit the chat because they can't debate.
Well, they never wanted to. They wanted to say their piece and get over it. Some of those people are just psyops, man. I mean, I hate to tell you that, but that's what they are. I've heard every single word they said. I've slowed it down. I've cut it apart. I looked at every single part of it, and I could tell you who the government psyop is and who's not. It's clear, man. When they want to hide something, they'll put it out there halfway, or if they want something patented in their name so that they get all the credit for everything, they'll put it out there in another way. These people are not who you think they are. And dude, I've been doing sales for a long time. I know exactly who's in front of me when they start talking. And I'm sorry, but Sal Paez and Jack, they're talking about the same exact thing. They're not different in any way.
Absolutely they are. They're like literally in a battle over it. And
well, yeah, but they want to make you think it's a huge battle. It's not. Neither one of them can do anything about it. They say it. They say the quiet part out loud, and they think you're too dumb to figure it out. You have no way of proving it. And then they start using words, conservation of energy. Everybody says it like it's a stick shoved up their butt at birth. It's literally wrong. And that's how they get you. It's like, oh, they could do all these fantastic things, but the conservation of energy or, whatever it is.
Hey, Philip.
Yeah.
Toronto won 2-0 tonight.
Oh,
Woohoo.
nice. We still have hope.
We have hope. We have hope.
Yeah. So yeah, there you go. That's all it is. It's gravity is a differential of time dilation, which is
Energy
proportional
density.
to the energy density. That's all.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
I think the over unity free energy and the anti-gravity is all tied in as one.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all the same system.
Mhm.
And it's very simple. People make it complicated. I think the complexity is intentional for disinformation and things like that.
Yeah, it creates a great spin on it.
Yeah.
Spin in the wrong direction.
Like when your whole thing is a magnetic field and that's what your whole science is based on, you're destined to fail.
Exactly.
There's no chance.
Yeah.
Look, Mike, how much magnetism is in your stuff when it gets going? I would imagine there's hardly any.
Yeah,
Like-
it's all neutral. It goes neutral. That's when the
There you
energy
go.
is released.
There you go. And they can't recognize that because it's against the way they think. So you end up in a situation where you can't win and you can't fail. It's screwed.
Yeah.
And it's a redundant circle that doesn't work because
Right.
you're not using the energy in your system. You're using the energy in the air around you.
Right.
It's everywhere. It's radiant energy. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
You can't get
So-
around that.
Yeah. Whenever you deal with magnetics, it's always a losing battle. You're always
it
going to be
is.
fighting it. So you
It's
could
because
use it to-
magnetics are an anomaly.
Mm.
They're an anomaly in a system. They're not the functional part. They're an anomaly.
Right. Exactly.
The functional part's the electricity and how fast you can move it from point A to point B, and how few amps can you use to push it from point A to point B.
Right.
Okay, how little of pressure you can put on something but still get it to move. That's it.
I think a very big part of it is energy conversion. So, like, say, like in your Tesla coils, you go high frequency, very high voltage. But then when you want to get horsepower out of it, you flip the Tesla coil upside down. So you get a second one, put it beside it, get it into resonant frequency with the first coil, put big power cable, maybe 2 turns on it, and watch the amps come through. So you're going to go from a very high frequency to, say, 50 hertz, 60 hertz, or whatever. But now you've slowed down that power. You're bottlenecking it. And now you're going to create the heat. And the heat's where the amps come from. So when you have those big power cables there, a couple turns is probably all you need. You'll see a huge increase in your amperage coming out on the other end.
Well, that's the point, is that you got to put heat in to get amps, and they don't realize that the temperature itself regulates the circuit. And if you can't realize that, you'll never find the amps and why it's screwing up your device or whether it's producing more. And how much energy you got in there. It should be pretty apparent right now. Change the frequency, change the volts and amps. Put on a duty cycle, change the volts and amps. It's not that hard.
Yeah.
It's pretty relatively easy stuff, but they have no idea the temperature is part of the system. They continue to think it's just, oh my God, conservation of energy all the time, but temperature is a major part of everything.
Sure. Yeah.
Big time.
See, the way our whole society has been run over the last 125 years, give or take, has been on the same concept of current and amps. You know, the current and amps going through a system. Almost every single device that you see out there right now is based on a constant current concept.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Right. So we have to go in the different direction. We have to go into a pulse type system than a constant current, because the pulse circuits will always be more efficient than the constant current.
That's a merry-go-round. You only push it at certain points on the merry-go-round. You're not pushing it, you're not running with it.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
because,
exactly what I need for
because
my
when
force
you're,
field
when
or
you're,
shock wave, to a pulse current.
see, when you're pulsing current through, say, a big power cable, right? You're creating a huge amount of magnetic field, and we all know the magnetic field is a dead end to energy. That's where the hysteresis happens. That's where
Mhm.
the destruction of electricity happens, is in the hysteresis, right? This goes back all the way to Steinmetz, right? If you start reading Steinmetz, and I start going through his book actually this week, Waves, Impulses, and what was it called? Waves, Impulses, and Currents. That book, I would suggest everybody pick up. You could get it on the PDF online. It's free. But start reading that book, and it really gives you a really good background that everybody should know. So, and he even has one of his calculations is called the law of hysteresis,
Mhm.
and it falls into any device that deals with electromagnetics. Period.
Well, part of the thing is too is where do you put your heat in your system? So most people run it right through their coil when they first start, and that's the biggest loss of them all. As soon as you heat up a coil, that's a lot of mass of copper that's being heated. Complete waste of energy. But what if you instead ran the cold side through there and got it cold, and you only put the heat in a small neon light bulb? Then what? How much hysteresis do you have just in that neon light? You don't have it through your coil. Therefore, your coil will get colder. So you're drawing in energy from the environment while you're doing it. That's why these things start to ice over like a room temperature superconductor, because you're pulling that through there. You're never pushing the heat side through it. You're always pulling the cold side through. That's the difference. I mean, how much loss do you want? Do you want 5% loss, or do you want 70, or 30% loss? Sorry, 30% loss, because that's what you're going to get in the hot circuit through a coil. As soon as it gets temperature high enough, you're done. You've lost all of your energy. But if it's cold, it continues to run and run and run. And the colder it gets, the less of a heat draw it needs. It needs that temperature differential right there. So if you're at below room temperature on your coil, you can run your light at room temperature and just have barely any energy coming out in hysteresis, less than 1%. And then you can run it really efficiently.
Exactly. And then you're utilizing a magnetic field properly without
That's
destroying the power, right?
Mhm.
And that's where we've been going, why society's gone wrong, because they want us to destroy the power.
Yes.
And the way it's run in the house, they have the 3 wires. Well, guess what? Any wire power that is not used by your system going through your house goes right back to the power company.
Oh, yeah.
Guess what? You're still getting billed for it.
Yes, you are.
The biggest
Part of the
scam on the
scam.
planet. The only way you get free energy is a decentralized system. Amen.
Yeah, well, you know what? This world would just be easier if they would allow the 80% solar panel, get rid of the 25% cap or 28% cap they put on it, and let it go to 80. Man, we could all have almost free power in our houses, because the solar panels that you can make at that point, half your roof would take care of your whole house for every day. That's the difference in the whole system.
What's the cap you're talking about? They block the efficiency of the solar panel down to 20%?
Yeah, the maximum a solar panel is allowed by the military industrial complex is 22%.
There you go.
Well,
Right?
well,
Like,
I gave it better credit than they deserved.
Yeah.
22%. And it's like that throughout the whole power grid with all the different devices, inverters.
Because that's why people have to make these enormous freaking solar farms to do a job. Could you imagine doing the same work with less than a quarter of what they're using?
Absolutely.
A third.
Well, but because they keep on converting it until they read it. But if it's from the material of the solar, or is it from the reader at the end?
No, it's specifically engineered not to be exceeding 22% efficiency. they had this technology to be over 80% back in the 70s.
Yeah.
They were denied their patent. They were denied.
Why?
Because
or it's ruled as the
It-
national security or whatever and taken by
Exactly.
the military.
Yep.
Okay, but
I'm sure the
is the reason, is it because it's dangerous? Is it
it
just
makes too much power. It
That
makes too much power.
It's gonna kill the power economy.
That's
right.
right.
stuff like for
Right.
money? Nothing scientific. Just
Nope.
money.
No,
Okay.
no woo science here. It's
But it's not the
It's not-
military that prevented that. It's just the government.
the oil companies for sure. They had a
Yeah.
big
Yeah,
say on that.
right. The lobbyists for the
Yeah.
big oil and big energy.
So think about it. Even if they got to 50%, huge improvement.
It's like
Oh, massive.
perfect
Massive.
flawless lattice, but then putting cavitation in it just to dim it down. Like, how stupid is that?
Yeah, they basically if you look at the solar panel patents, they cannot exceed 22%. If they do, they get either seized or denial of the patent altogether,
Mhm.
which is totally utterly ridiculous.
Yeah.
And they had the technology back in the, like I said, in the mid 70s to make a solar panel 80% efficient. That's pretty damn good.
But we should contact like the environmental,
Still,
department.
it's all politics, Lulu. We're boiling down to fighting the government.
Yeah, but telling them this is scientifically what it means.
Well,
like,
in
don't-
China now, it seems that they're actually doing this. I've seen a lot of articles coming out of these different new solar panels that are like 10,000 times more efficient and like 20,000 times more efficient. Same with their batteries, same with their engines. But then it's like it doesn't
Why? Know why? Because the one thing that I can say about the Chinese that I do agree with is free enterprise. There's no restrictions on what they can build. You know what I mean?
The Chinese?
Yeah, the Chinese.
Only when they want to sell it to the U.S. there's a restriction.
Yeah, that's the only time there is. But in China, they have more of a free enterprise type mentality, which I like. Make the best thing possible and get it out there.
You ever see those little fake Dodges they have? The truck?
Oh, I seen that. Yeah.
They're like little go-karts.
Yeah,
almost.
Yeah.
Just a little bit bigger.
Oh, they got some neat stuff down there.
It's wild.
I've not seen that.
Apparently, there's less bureaucracy in China.
That's right. Yeah.
Also,
as long as you don't screw around with the CPP, the government. And,
don't do that.
But as far as like making stuff and being more free enterprise, no restrictions.
They're allowing more innovation.
Yeah, exactly. They're loosening the loose, the loose.
well, innovation, they plagiarize a lot, saving all the R&D money and market studies and all that. That's for
they
sure.
don't even have to do anything. They just get all the patents given to them because they steal everything. So, you know what I mean? Whatever your secret was, they have
everything.
Well,
They're the king of open source.
Yeah.
Then what
they are.
is when they do something called data acquisition? What does that mean from company to company? I mean, did you ever think
that's called open source.
Yeah, they're buying all your data.
Yeah, it's like
everybody's information, what you did, where you swiped your credit card, how long you spent in the place, what sandwich did you eat. Every little bit of information is tracked because we have cards. That's why they hate cash. So they need all the data so that they can sell you stuff. So if they find out that you like going to the hair salon 3 times a week, then they're going to push products to you that would do that. So as soon as you turn on your Alexa, it's going to go, would you like to go to the hair salon today? Would you like some shampoo? You know what I mean? That's exactly what they do.
Yeah.
Certain things it's negative, but when it comes to like, inventing and, producing a really cool product, it seems like China is way ahead of us on that because they don't have the restrictions that we have here. Can't do this, can't do that, can't do this. Then what the hell am I going to make?
No, but it's not only the restriction, it's the damn bureaucracy
Yeah.
that you apply for a grant, and by the time you apply, it's going to take like 6 months. After 6 months of waiting, you don't even know if they're off budget, so they still have the budget for the grant or not. So especially in Canada, it's horrible.
Well, think about it this way. They have the patent for 80% efficient solar panels, right? So the U.S. goes in and they go, okay, we want 22% efficiency. We want them to break down after 6 years, and that's our order. So anything that comes in has to cap at that, and you cannot go beyond that. That's the way it's done. Okay?
Do you think it's part of the warranties that they sell as a product?
Well, you got to just...
You know, they want to make a business for it that covers this, specs,
Yeah, well, they just go on based on the manufacturer's warranty. You're not getting somebody at their shop fixing it.
Yeah, but they're giving the specs to, the manufacturer. They don't want to be, like.
So they build it for 1 year longer than it should run for you.
Yeah.
Just like they do. Okay, so you take your motor for your car, right? And they tell you it's going to run 100,000 miles, but at 60,000 miles in Japan, they take the motors out and they don't let them go beyond that. So now all those motors get sent over here and they get put into your car when you have a problem. So they do this all the time, and they're just swapping things around so that they can make as much money as possible. And like I said, it's only ordered towards how that country wants it. As soon as we can eliminate that and get rid of the bureaucrats in our own problem, it goes away. That's why they hate Trump, because he continues to do it. He continues to tear down those barriers where you can actually see behind the curtain, and they hate him for it.
Yeah. Yeah. I wish I could help Trump.
Yeah, look, by the way, I don't care who it is. As long as they have an open door where we can see things, I don't care which party's in power. Just do the same thing. Like right now, you got a Democratic Party. Instead of going out there for the people and trying to promote their own way, say something good, you know what I mean? Be there for the people. They're complaining and whining like, you know what I mean? Like little school kids. It's like, for God's sakes, grow up, get a message out there, get talking to the folks, give them something that they want, not something that is on your agenda, something that they actually want, and then you'll get some votes for yourself. They can't figure that out. And man, it's like the biggest kryptonite to these people, because their agenda is being trashed and they can't do anything about it because they can't think beyond it.
That in the Constitution, there is something when, any party in the government hinders an opposing party running like the government, there is a legal thing about that. And it's in the Constitution, as like, because that would be promoting to tear down a government when you hinder its, government processes. So if the Democrats are always, just trying to project frivolous things, on what the current administration is doing, that's hindering the current administration from, helping, the people as much as it can, because it's having to, take from its time and fighting, these things. So yeah, and with it in I believe in like in constitutional law, there's something like that they're doing wrong, and could be, they could stop that. Honestly, yeah. So yeah. And I read I read the Constitution. I read it a few times, so every now and then I remember something, but
There
I
you
don't
go.
know exactly where. But I remember that that was spoken, about like if something like this were to happen, then this is what needs to happen, But yeah, it's all in it's a good book. Yeah.
Very good. Hey, Bernie,
Yes,
you had a
sir.
guy on your show 2 weeks ago. He does forgive me for the name, I'm going to get it wrong. Zero device, zero.
Oh, okay. It was a that was a re-premiere, but Jason Verbelli.
Yes.
This girl? Yeah.
His whole negative static electricity is exactly what I do. He described every single thing I did, but put it in the name I didn't use. He used a different name for it. But by the way, just so you know, I was paying attention in that stream, and he did get it right, how it restructures the water, how it goes in and activates the DNA of the plant. All that stuff is in there, which is absolutely true, and it builds out the exact same way. Just so you know, yeah, I thought he was a pretty smart guy.
Yeah, I'm actually planning on reaching out to him to get him back on. So I'll make sure to let you know and try to coordinate with you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I always got one question for him, man, and I'd just love to know what that device that he works on. What happened if they took out the core of it and left it open? Because he showed like the temperature between each layer, right? So as he showed, it got colder to the center, but it had no free flow of air. So it would stay in the center, but if it opened the flow, you'd start to get the correct, you know what I mean, geometry of the air movement, right?
I get what you're saying with that.
So I'm just curious, and I could be completely wrong, Bernie, but the temperatures that he showed, the way the device works, how it pulls in the energy, it just looked right.
I agree, and it's I wonder almost if Searle had like done that intentionally, because I guess he like intentionally didn't or like sabotage some aspects of the Searle device for people trying to like recreate it or something, because he's like all paranoid and whatnot. But who knows? Now he's gone. Problem with so many of the inventors out there. It intentionally like don't give all of the specs or put a misdirection here or there and stuff.
Well, they want you to recreate a lot of the stuff that they do. And if you don't understand that, they can't tell you what it is because their language barrier to you is a lot. Like they'll say different words and you have no idea what they're talking about, but the invention speaks for itself. So you start working this thing backwards, right? And reverse engineering it, and you start to notice some of the anomalies in it. You should be seeing the same exact thing that they're seeing, right? That's why I was so excited to see that Tesla book, because he said everything I said. And the better part was he said it in the same terminology I used.
Are you sure he's not doing like David Rossi, watching your videos and then using the same terms you're using?
Oh my God, dude. By the way, his cold energy video, I could have wrote the script for it word for word, dude. I'm sorry. I think he did a fabulous job in giving the interview, but I literally could have wrote that word for him. It was like, would you like to watch my channel for a few weeks and then give a report on it? Is what it felt like. But I will say this, he did a beautiful job in expressing it. It got out there, and I'm happy he did it. And he probably said he learned it on his own, which is great.
Okay.
Or from a blue plasma being or something, supposedly.
Well, you get blue plasma. You just can change the temperature on a set it in the rotted testicle. I'd get you that right now. I mean, I'd get you blue, I'd get you purple. I could change the plasma right in front of you from white to yellow to what color do you want? You want orange? I could do that one too. I can run the rainbow right in front of you. All I need is a little bit of high voltage and we're good to go.
Nathan, but think of it like this. You know, artificial computers know when you posted your video. There's a timestamp on that. So if they really perfect this, quantum computer and want to know the original, there's a timestamp on.
Yeah, the watermark.
Yeah. So, like even if they really, take that, like they steal your idea, but the computer system it identifies keywords, it identifies, like different things, and then it sees the like who, posted it. There's a whole data tree to that. It goes all the way to, the signal on the camera. It's, do you understand what I'm saying? If they really
No,
want,
look, I understand. I
no.
don't care. It's not that big of a point to me. The fact that he got it out there was more beneficial to me than anything else in the world. You know what I mean? I would have literally given it to him to read if that's what he wished. You know what I mean? That part I could care less about. I mean, I do this stuff so that everybody has it, so that you can go back and look at different experiments and see why they're done that way. That's all I care about. The other stuff, man, I'm not out to patent it. If I did, I would have never started a YouTube, and I could have done it all in private and could have made a lot of money already. I mean, I was turning down AI programming to, to keep doing it out open source. They offered me $63,000 to, contribute to writing their high voltage thing, and I turned it down. I have no interest in trading AI. It's not of any interest to me. So I'd rather have everybody have it and ask questions about it and get it right. I seen some people, man, they just take what I say and look for the physics terms and the physics papers that go with it, and that's their whole presentation for the day. They literally took a subject I just discussed a few days earlier, found the physics papers, and presented it.
Nathan,
I've had a couple of those.
Stream as we currently, are streaming it and talking, it picks up on everything, whether like have a contract with these, not,
Yeah, the whole problem is they'll take over and put patents on it, and then you can't use it anymore.
I know.
And that was in their contract. And that was not something I'm okay with.
Exactly.
Sorry, guys. I'm
putting it on the black shelf. That's been a big problem over the years.
Yeah, I'm poor for it, but that's okay. All right, Bernie, what do you got? The ice cube.
My structured water here, frozen in an ice cube tray. Oop. And just how clear the ice is, and then it goes into this very unique structure with the bubbles. This was the purple silver Ormus water, the purple silver ionic water, and very interesting bubble formations and clarity of the ice is just
looks like a crystal lattice structure.
It is. It absolutely is forming these lattice structures, and ice is a crystal. So there we go. And some of it almost looks like a lightning or a vortex of sorts.
Oh, look at that
one.
Ooh.
Right. Very interesting stuff. And almost getting to the one I want to show. That's not in focus. Oh, sorry. But that it is forming some OdySee style structures and just completely unique. Here we go.
There you go.
How the bubbles are going, and that there's like this central mass around it being formed, and then these spikes of structured I guess frozen air, the bubbles, but nothing like any normal ice I have ever seen before. Here we go. This one's starting to show the actual vortex shapes, formations being frozen in. There's a couple more evidence of that. This one's pretty wild. It's almost like bursts of energy or fields.
You look like you're getting a slow speed tendril.
Yeah.
Like you run this. Sorry, you run these at 5 volts, right?
So this water, well, it originally was, but then to make the Ormus, but then this, I take the Ormus, I flush it 9 times with distilled water, and then I take the top ionic water from like the bottle that I'm using to drink or whatever, and it's probably been refilled like 500 times since it's had electricity going through it now. And this is just from absorbing the monoatomic silver in this one, but the purple silver that I had form purple Ormus silver.
Oh my God.
Here we
Okay.
go. This is the one.
Bernie, can I tell you something? Water has memory.
Yes, sir.
And you're
Yep.
adding a positive and negative to the water source that is hot. It's positive to negative, right? So you're literally structuring the water and the formation that it has in that water. You're actually, all you're doing is freezing it in place where the last structure was. So the alignment in it is going to stay the same when it breaks down and builds back up because the water has memory.
I love that explanation, and that's actually what I exact same explanation I theorized for the other structured water that I formed with the gold monoatomic gold that will show here, that it was a pure gold anode, and then I was using my silver coated copper wire that was I made into the triple solenoid Magrav coils, and then you see that there's these 3 fields constantly being frozen into these ice cubes from the water, and it's like, so was it the memory of the triple solenoid that creates these round bubbled fields in the gold water?
Kind of looks like an echo.
Right? And
that looks like an
you
echo.
can see the straight exclusion zones between, and is it that triple electromagnetic field from the triple solenoid coil that is creating that memory into them? You can see that it's in each of these ice cubes.
Do you ever see that? Oh my God, what do they call that? Where they lift the styrofoam balls and they have it between the speakers. They have
acoustic
a field.
levitation.
Yeah, there you go. They have a field that builds out. It's dense, light, dense, light, dense, and then the balls go in between them. You're building the same thing there, and it shows up in high voltage as well, the same exact way.
Fascinating. Right? Like, so that would explain those ones, but then the silver, I guess, yeah, the silver ones, I was using 2 silver coins, so there was no coils going in with the electricity, and it gives these like raws, and just how clear the ice is in these ones is quite astounding. And like almost looks like a comet.
Bernie, put 2 magnets of them, like for next time, and like opposing sides, and like connecting, but far enough that they don't like touch, or collapse, or like see and freeze it. See if you could see something in the water, I think it would be
Yeah,
fun.
the magnets do create other fields and structures in water, I believe. So I will try that to compare. but just how it's like this vortex is pretty wild, and then the shooting lines of bubbles as opposed to your regular circular bubble. It's like very, very fascinating.
Cool.
Yeah. So just wanted to show some evidence of the actual structured water retaining that structure, and like Nathan said, the memory that is held within that water to keep this form happening. Here you can see the fields as well in this one, so it's kind of like showing both kinds of both structures.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Guys, I'm going to have to call it quits for the night. I have to go on the road tomorrow. I got a road trip. So, yeah, we've done over 2 hours. That's good. Bernie, I don't know if they want to hop over to your channel after. Are you doing a stream tonight or?
Maybe 9:30, maybe by 10. We will see, quite possibly. But I think it's getting late for everyone. I know Phil's half asleep by now, and Nathan goes to bed early, and Lulu looking
I'm
pretty
hungry
relaxed.
too, so sleepy and hungry. So
It's a bad
I'm thirsty. I
combination.
need beer.
Nice.
Gentlemen, I have a question off camera. I want to ask you about something that you guys talked about earlier, but I don't want to say it, because you'll understand when I ask it.
Yeah.
Okay, shoot.
No, off camera, not one.
Oh,
word.
okay. All right. Yeah. Thanks a lot, everybody. Live chat was awesome tonight. Really good live chat. Don't forget, we go live to air again next Friday at 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific. And for all our Canadian listeners, have a great long weekend. And we'll see everybody next week. Take care, everybody.
Diddly do.
Everybody stay on after we go off. Take care.